Hey, thanks for tuning into the Zealous Podcast. I'm your host, Rocky Snyder. This week, Justen Chatman's in the house with me. He's the performance scientist for the LA Rams, and we're going to get underway in just a moment and learn all about what he's been doing with the team. But before we do that, check out my website, rockysnyder.com, for podcast archives, blogs, continuing education, and a whole bunch more, including brand new wedge kits. You can get them at performbetter.com, but you can also go through my website. So if you want to find out more information, maybe join me at the Perform Better Summit, 3-day functional summit in Providence, Rhode Island in August, also be in Chicago this June, and they've got one in Long Beach, California in July. I'll be at the NSCA National Conference this July, though, at the same time, Kansas City, Missouri. Check that out. Be sure to also check out Satanta College if you're interested in a master's degree in like sports science or things of that nature. Just put in RS10 for 10% off tuition today. Follow us on Instagram at Rocky_Snyder and enjoy the show. Well, all roads, they say, lead to Rome. But in the case of the Zealous Podcast, it seems like all roads lead back to the LA Rams. I mean, whether it's John Griffin or Justin Lovett or whomever, this year, this time, right now, we've got Justen Chatman on, strength and conditioning coach with the LA Rams. And Justin, it's a joy to have you on. Welcome to the Zealous Podcast.
Hey, how you doing?
I am great, man. And it's great connecting with you. I know you're raring to go and ramping up for a new season right around the corner. I mean, spring training just ended for baseball, and opening day is right around here right now. So all that's left is just waiting for summer camp and the combines and so on. So you must be taking a breath right now, getting ready to dive in. What's going on in the LA Rams world right now?
Yeah, right now it's our dead period, so we're kind of just waiting for the draft to happen, and then we'll get into our OTA phases, and after that, we have rookies. They'll arrive after that, and then training camp in the season. So
And that's why you have time to talk to me. So I thank you
right,
very much for
got
that.
time to talk to
Dead
you.
season's always good. So give us a sense of, like, yeah, you told me before we started recording this that you grew up in the South Carolina area. Give me a little origin story about how you got to come all the way out to the left coast and be with the Rams organization. Where'd you go to school? What did you like doing? How did you get to be here?
Yeah, so I went to a small school of University of South Carolina upstate, so a branch school from the main school from Columbia, South Carolina. So I grew up around the Gamecocks, Gamecock football, Gamecock basketball, Lady Gamecock. So big Gamecock fan. But I
Nice.
went to the branch school, and that's where I got my undergrad and master's degree. Then eventually after that, I went into working for a private sector, SMI sport performance hospital. I did that for a year and a half. Um, then started my own LLC through that and started training the Spartanburg, Greenville area. And then from there, I got in contact with my old mentor, old boss, Matthew Aldred. We were at Furman together, so he hired me as his assistant for men's basketball and the head for track and cross country. So that was kind of my like first intro to collegiate sports. And that was an amazing experience, being able to learn under him and develop S&C skills in basketball and as well as sports science. I got introduced to sports science with him and developed a real niche and passion for data analytics, and then kind of tying that with S&C. And after that, it's funny, we were talking about next steps. I was talking to him, we were talking about next steps and, what's next for me? Do I want to go sports science? Do I want to go strength and conditioning? What do I see my career filling out? And honestly, I didn't know. I loved both. I love training, but I also love the data side of things. And um, I just got a call from Zach Witherspoon. He was here, and now he's recently relocated to Pitt, and he's director of sports science there, doing great work. So that was kind of my in into getting with the Rams.
That's great. And so you blend sports science and S&C together with the
Uh,
Rams, or are you leaning toward one more than the other?
yes, I blend. I'm hired as a performance science fellow, so I'm here doing more performance science, but I'm able to assist and actually blend those sports science qualities with S&C. Yes.
Okay, we're going to definitely dive into performance science because I want to know more and more about it. Because like every month it grows and it
Yep.
morphs into something amazing. I mean,
Yes.
the early years of sports science were cool, but it was so limiting. And I don't think we really could mine the data that we truly thought we needed, or we were mining information, but it turned out that that's maybe not as pertinent info as we thought it was going to be. So there's been this constant hunt and navigation through fields and fields of data that
Right.
now I think people are getting a better understanding of what it is you're looking for. So I guess, yeah, let's just dive in there. What
Yeah.
aspect of performance science do you like to investigate, and what tools are you using?
Yeah. I guess what aspects I like to investigate, I'd say, well, I'll start with tools, GPS, especially working NFL football, the field data is always the most, important prevalent data, but also for me, the most fun data to look at because you get such a wide range of, X and Y axis data. And that's the main driver for everything that we do. Especially from the performance science side. Then I'd say another tool I like to use for S&C is obviously VBT. VBT, good for neuromuscular fatigue, and just seeing all the numbers pop up can be overwhelming. But for me, I love seeing that because I know the actionable insights that it gives and how we can use it to better our athletes. So yeah, it's
Very cool. Now, I know I got a colleague who pulls out so much data from GPS that it's almost like you've got this level of data, and then below that level is is like just an amazing abundance of information that
right.
if you had all the time in the world, you'd probably get lost in it, right?
You can
So,
you can get lost in it, yeah.
so
It's
how do you
data, but it's
avoid
sub
that?
data.
That's what I want to know. How do you avoid not falling headfirst into the dumpster?
Yes. Well, at first, you always have to kind of work with filtering, but you always have to ask yourself, like, what am I trying to accomplish? What do I want to look for? Then you'll kind of bucket it down to filtering the data and cleaning it, data hygiene. And then, like I said, you go back to that question, what are you trying to accomplish? And then you'll kind of just focus on that one aspect of data because it is a lot to look at and it can be overwhelming. Whether you're going looking into it for a global standpoint, you want to break it down to, positional, then maybe you want to bring down the individual within that position. That's a way I'd look into it and not get lost in the sauce because you definitely can get lost in the sauce looking into all the rows of data.
And in terms of performance science, you're also looking for bellwethers. You're looking for indicators in terms of excessive fatigue, overtraining, higher likelihood of injury. Like with that, what is it that you actually have you created any type of algorithm or your own kind of understanding as to these are the major indicators and when they pop up, I need to flag this athlete. You know what I mean?
Yes, kind of like a flagging system, you would say.
Yeah. Have you developed something like that? Or maybe you didn't develop it, but it's something that's been taught to you to kind of look out for these measurements, look out during these assessments. If this happens, then we need to pull this player aside in a way and just check in with them. What's their sleep patterns like? What's their
Mhm.
fueling like? What's their stress level? What is the S&C coach seeing in the weight room? That type of thing.
Yeah, within the data, we always like to build parameters and build guidelines, say half a standard deviation or percentage drop off. And you can do that through color formatting. That's probably the best way to look at that and kind of make a stoplight system where you can look at data and kind of put it in couplings or groupings. That way, say like you said, someone's maybe dropping off from an RSI standpoint. Well, hey, to make it, pop because if you just have regular white lines looking at numbers, you're not able to gauge what's going on. But say you build a stoplight system within the data, um, you're able to kind of look at indicators and, like you said, build a flag system where as red it could be, not necessarily bad, but not well, right? Or yellow could be, cautious, green could be okay, he's in a good standing, and that's the way you can kind of get on the equilibrium within the data, and give it to the right practitioner, give it to the right person who needs to see this data that we can make actual insight. So you can do that through BI applications. I know a lot of people in the field has been growing performance science of being able to use Power BI, Tableau. Those are visualizations that I've learned how to use over the past of my career. And coding languages kind of help with like filtering that and making kind of those I'd say what just ways to really clean the data and ways to get what you want to get out of it. That way we can flag, and that way we can, like I said, give it to the right person to make actual insights.
And is that part of your job description, your role and responsibility?
Yes.
Cool. What else falls under your umbrella, your skill sets?
hmm from that standpoint, I work with I have a coordinator over me, Trent Fry, and he's the performance science coordinator, and we kind of double team it. I'd say like he's Batman, I'm Robin.
Nice.
Right. And we have a great teamwork where um at the end of practice, or not even just practice, just process from day-to-day process. Well, I'll turn on jerseys, I'll make sure tags are assigned. He'll then kind of build progressions. He'll then look at the data while I'm cleaning it. And then we have a non-seamless process of just looking at data between both of us. And he's able to make decisions and actually make actual insights with me giving him the data in a clean version. And we tag team that. Sometimes he'll clean it, sometimes I'll clean it. And it's truly a blessing being able to work with another person in the performance science department, where we both have similar skill sets and have a similar mind, think they can process. And then we're able to pretty much get our tasks done, but also in a efficient fashion through different skill sets.
Very cool. You just said turn on the jerseys, which made me, of course, go down the rabbit hole in
Yeah,
my head
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah,
wearable tech.
yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what are
Let's
the
talk about it.
jerseys? What do you measure when you turn
Yeah,
on the jerseys? What are they telling you?
yeah. The NFL's partnered with Zebra, so every team has tags in their shoulder pads, left, right, and center, and essentially that's the GPS that we're able to
Oh,
monitor with. Yep.
oh,
So
so it's not in the shoe. GPS is actually in the pads in the jersey.
yep, they're in the pads now.
Why? Why the change?
Yeah, just with football and being more, non-invasive with the athletes and making it actual thing where you're not um adjusting jerseys and cutting things off and taking bra straps off or like catapult. It's been a really cool thing for me to see because I come from basketball where we're using connects on and chips in the pocket or chips in the
Right.
shorts. But it's cool to not have to collect that, and it's cool to actually have the tags built in to where you just kind of turn it on and off, and that way it's better for the athletes and it's better for the practitioners collecting the data.
So aside from linear acceleration um, just general GPS, does it also measure impact or can you correlate impact with acceleration and deceleration? You know what I mean? Like to
Mhm.
the amount of contact that these guys are going through,
Right,
it
right,
would seem to make sense that you would want to measure the blunt force of hits, tackles, a ground force reaction, all that stuff. Do you guys, is there
right.
any device that does that?
Not currently, no. I know Catapult has that capability. And sometimes we use Catapult more in training camp, so we'll be able to use that this season and play around with metrics and see how that contact load looks. But yeah, you're on the right. That's the name of the game right there. That contact, that's game changing.
And so how do you measure contact? Is there a way that you can, with the data that you get, is there a way to create a some type of educated hypothesis based
Mhm,
on the GPS itself? Like,
mhm.
do you delve into that at all? Are you kind of playing with it at all?
Not necessarily. I know there are some ways through different devices. I want to say with the RFD tag that we have, it's not capable because of the GPS on the X and Y. But with other technology, I'm aware that it's possible to actually calculate that contact.
Okay. And then what about Guardian caps? They have come on the scene, and at one point in
Yes.
time, it was for summer camp preseason only. Now we're getting them into the regular season game with a number of players. Like, do you have GPS or wearable tech or anything to measure the efficacy of Guardian cap, or is that just the manufacturers themselves are dealing with that and you're not part of it?
I believe the manufacturers are dealing a part of that. But it would be nice to do a study one day on just, concussion rate based off ones who wear guarding caps in game as the league is progressing to a healthier league. A lot of athletes are actually wearing guarding caps during the game. So it would be nice to see that. But currently, no.
Okay, well, you're for with all due respect, you are a numbers geek, right? And I say that with love
Yeah,
and uh
it's okay.
and admiration. So and you've already gone through your master's. Well, by the way, what was your master's in? Was it kinesiology, sports science? What was it?
Yep. It was in sports science with a little bit of data analytics in there.
Data analytics. Okay. So and you had to do some type of capstone or final applied project. Well, I'm curious,
Yes.
what was it?
It was on the AFC test. So I did it on the Army cadets on my campus. It was the
Oh.
testing how does creatine monohydrate affect the ACFT scores, and will there be a decrease or increase in the passing rate of the ACFT scores just for the military?
Okay. That was not what I was anticipating the answer to be.
Right, right. Totally not sport related. But it was it was interesting, and it was challenging for me to do just because it wasn't my background working with military personnel. But I think it's important to work under wide spectrums, especially in sports science and research related kind of fields, because you get a different perspective looking at things from a whole different lens and a whole different population that aren't athletes, which is,
Wow.
you can bring that to sports
Sure.
and kind of just see it from a different point of view. So,
Oh, completely. I mean, we're
mhm.
talking tactical strength conditioning when we're talking the NFL in many
Right,
ways.
right.
So you being Robin and you got Batman there, with Batman and Robin getting all this information, are you doing any types of case studies or research yourself with the information you're gleaning? Have you guys talked about that? Going, with all this stuff, we could easily put together some kind of research article on the GPS used for this. Are you playing around with things like that, especially in the off season?
No, we actually aren't. We kind of just it'll be fun, but we're real so fixated on these wins and losses, and we really
Yeah, I guess.
we don't yeah we don't want to we don't want to be driven so much by it to where we're not, making these things actionable for the coaches. Like we're all about helping the team win. We're all about team health. We're all about making sure our guys are, ready to play ball. That's what we're kind of about. So he's a hybrid, and he's a strength conditioning coach first, and we're all S&C first. So that's kind of our thing. But we just love applying that performance science and being nerds, but just being nerds in a way that kind of helps us stay focused on the course.
And with this, your coach, amazing. He has a tendency, as I understand it, I haven't heard directly firsthand, first person, to keep things, under cover, kind of close to the chest, and not necessarily want to divulge a lot of trade secrets and so on. I wanted to come down to practice one time, and I was like, "Yeah, we just don't do that." I'm like, "Okay, cool, I
Right,
get it."
right.
So when it comes to like sports science, is that the same way? Like you guys, you're not going to call up your colleague from the Saints or from the Bears and go, "Hey, what are you doing over here?" Or is that not the case? Do you guys collaborate with other NFL performance scientists across the league?
Not necessarily. No, we kind of stay in our own bucket, and just personal, we kind of stay in our own bucket, but maybe outside of competitors where maybe NFL or NHL or Major League Baseball, we'll kind of collaborate with each other through there. But not too much inter team wide.
I got you. Okay, what's the most exciting part of your role with the Rams and the day-to-day stuff that you do? What just gets you freaking jazzed up and like this is the stuff? What is it?
Yeah. I'd say seeing the guys come in for lifting sessions and seeing them pumped up like that first day of OSP training, I'm gonna be so happy, full of just so much joy just seeing the guys back and ready to go to battle and be with each other and have that camaraderie. The Rams do a really good job of making it feel like a family. So when you have your whole family home, it's almost like a family reunion. But we're all here handling business. So I think that's what gets me going, doing that, seeing the guys, being able to train with them, interact with them, help them reach that goal of being a better athlete than they were coming in that day. That's what gets me going. That's what makes me excited.
And that's cool. What's one of your bigger challenges then? What are the things that you're just like, okay, this is not necessarily as easy as I thought it was going to be, or man, I got to get my head wrapped around this.
Mhm. I'd say when I first came adjusting from basketball to football, especially early in my career, was a big challenge for me. Going to my second year now, I feel great, ready to rock. But really transitioning from that basketball kind of culture to football culture can be a little different. Not necessarily a bad thing, but it can be just different, dealing with different kind of athletes, right? You come from dealing with someone who's 6'8" or a population of 6'4" and higher, and now you're dealing with someone who's 5'11", but actually stronger, just as strong, but not as, doesn't have long arms. So
Yeah.
just getting adjusted to the lifting setups, and just different movements, like basketball movement qualities are way different than football movement qualities, but there are some similarities within them. But I say that was the biggest challenge, I'd say. Not necessarily challenge, but just culture shift for me.
Well,
Verbiage.
plus we're talking like 13 to 16 athletes on a basketball
Right,
team compared to
right,
64 or
right,
more on an
right,
NFL team, not including the
right.
practice squad and all that. Man,
Hmm.
yeah, that's a huge jump just in population.
Right. But I tell you, I enjoy both sides, and really being able to see both and has been a blessing to me. See that at a high level, college basketball to NFL. It's been great. Like it's been great to see the two and be able to experience the two and be able to actually talk relevancy within both. Has been great and just a cool experience.
And you mentioned culture in terms of team culture, but what about American culture for you? Growing up in the
Mhm.
South, deep South of South Carolina, and going out to La La Land, what's that like for you the last couple of years living in LA? Is that kind of like, oh, there's no place like home, even though I'm loving what I'm doing? Or have you transitioned pretty well and being like, California, I didn't know it could be so good. What's your opinion?
Yeah, it was like culture shock. The South is totally different than out here, and at first I was kind of feeling. For me, I just missed my like food culture kind of deal back home. Food out here is
Okay, what are we talking like? What kind of food? Because I don't want to stereotype or anything, but I've got my idea of what you're talking about. Tell me, what's the food that you're missing?
soul food.
All right, cool.
Real southern cuisine, soul food. I think that, but that's the only kicker. Outside of that, I love it out here. It's so much to do. I love being around this area. It's sunny. Back home it rains a lot, so that's something I had to get used to, not really dealing with rain. Even all the comes to natural disasters, right? We have hurricanes back home out here. We have earthquakes, we have fires. So it's way different. I love going to the beach. I love scenery, and you don't get that back home. The people out here, I'd say, like, are very what's the word? They're just different, but in a good way. Like um real you can kind of be wherever you want to be out here. And in the South, it's a little different. So um I ultimately I don't see myself leaving the West Coast. I think now the West Coast is the best coast, personally.
Oh,
So
all right.
yeah, I enjoy LA a lot.
Hey, you mentioned fires. Were you affected at all personally or as a team by the fires a few months back?
Not that I know of, but I think team wide we were pretty good. We were blessed to be able to be safe, but fires did get a little close.
Yes, yes, they did. All right. So when it comes to the back to the sports science aspect,
Mhm,
the force plates in the weight room, you're
mhm.
also looking into that? Like, which when it comes to Batman and Robin's roles and so on, some, of course, are going to blend together and carry into one another, but which ones are exclusively like your babies these days? Is it we already mentioned GPS, so there are other aspects that you are going, "Okay, boss, I got this."
I'd say like the Nordboard,
Ah,
like the hamstring testing, and
tell me more.
yeah, that's something that we love to use, and um kind of just the vault products, the hamstring, the groin bar, um tools like that. Those are the tools that I'll use, and just for neuromuscular fatigue reasons.
And so you're looking at fatigue rate, force production,
Mhm,
asymmetries. Are there
mhm.
other things you're looking for with those?
You don't know. Those are the three real big things that we will look at for, hamstring kind of testing. And that goes into, yeah, that goes into kind of just our flagging system.
And do you have normative data as it pertains to positions? Like, okay, QBs, they need to hit these marks. D backs, this mark, O line, this mark. Like, is there anything there that that has as okay? These are the levels I need you to reach or get close to it.
Yeah, we have some normative data. Always, we always compare it to ourselves as well. But we also have Vault. Vault has normative data on all their devices. So we just kind of base everything.
Okay. And so this is your second year doing this. What are the biggest surprises that you're like, oh my God, I had no idea that the D line was stronger than the O line, or that the cornerbacks are actually faster than the wide receivers, or stronger, or anything like that? Did anything kind of poke out at you going, oh man, I thought it was the other way around? Anything like that?
Um, I'd say just it's always amazing seeing how actually strong these athletes are. You get to know them personally, and you get to see them, and they're great people. And then you see them do testing, or you see them lift, and you're like, my goodness, you outputted that much force. Like it's always phenomenal to see. Testing day, like wow, like that is a lot of force. I did not expect that from you. So I see that every day. I'm just like, man, that guys are strong, So yeah.
Very cool. That was almost like a politician's answer. That was a really safe zone to lay in. So if you ever want to switch over to politics, I think you'll be
Right.
set there. No, that's good. What about your own workout? I don't often ask people this, but what
Mhm.
about your own training? Because it is so easy to get caught up in making sure everybody else is performing at a high level that we have a tendency to kind of sacrifice ourselves if we're not careful. What is it like for you? Like, do you wake up in the early morning hour, get your workout on before everybody else gets there? Or are you just kind of scratching at whatever time you can get into a workout gym or routine?
Yeah, I always try and get there early in the morning to get my own workout in, and I use that as a kind of like a de-stressor, kind of just take it as my own time to just really be myself and really get to do my own thing. And because as practitioners, we're always kind of taking care of everyone else, so I try and make sure I get up and try and just keep a consistent routine of always waking up and training, and um, whether it's cardio or whether it's just almost even meditating. Sometimes I'll get up and meditate early in the morning just to kind of be consistent, dealing with the high stress of working in, collegiate and pro sports. So,
And
um,
how long is your commute back and forth to work from your house?
oh, it's not far at all. Live in Woodland Hills, so sometimes I'll jog to work in like a 15-20 minute jog.
Whoa, you're right in the neighborhood.
Right
That's
in the neighborhood.
damn good. Oh my
Right.
gosh, you don't have to deal with LA commuting traffic.
Right. And yeah, that's another
People
thing
have
about
no
LA.
idea.
Yeah, it's different.
You could live a mile away and it takes you half an hour to get to work. Uh,
Right.
Yeah, you could run there faster sometimes. Wow, that's very cool. Okay. So we've talked a lot about sports science as it relates to training and practice. What about game time? Like this is you're entering another season in the fall, obviously. And I imagine you travel with the team. But when it comes to game time, what's your role as a performance scientist?
Yep. My role is to help arrive early. That way we have all of our um mobility sticks. We have all of our tools ready for the athletes to actually be activated and be ready to perform. So I'll set out mobility sticks, I'll set out Theraguns, I'll set out balls, I'll set out bands. That way when players get here, they're ready to perform and ready. They're just mentally prepared, locked in with their headphones, and they come and they have everything accessible to them. So that's mainly my role. And then
Very cool. Okay,
sometimes, yeah.
go ahead.
Oh,
Sorry.
that was it. Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
So when it comes to those type of things like mobility targets, soft tissue targets with the sticks, the air guns, and so on, does the information that you gather come into play with determining target areas, or is that primarily coming from the athletic trainer, physical therapist, and strength coach?
Yeah, that would mainly come from the our medical side. Yeah.
Got it. Uh, and then when it comes to, say, the actual game going on, are you in the booth? Are you down in the field? Where are you at that moment
I'm
during
actually
game
on the
time?
field. Yeah, I'm on the field. Yeah, I'm on the field with the strength staff and the whole team really, and just trying to just make sure we're getting guys back. So I'm right in action.
And are you, do you know, there's so many uses for tablets down there, Microsoft tablets or whatever you're using there. Is that part of your responsibility too? Make sure those things are all set up? Or is that somebody else? Is that like the equipment manager or something?
That's more of the equipment, I believe, or the equipment, maybe IT.
Is there a role or responsibility that came as a surprise to you that you, whether you, were happy or sad about it, doesn't really, I'm not really looking for that. But when you came into the organization, you started uh, unpacking all the things that you were responsible for. Was there something that was like, oh, cool, I didn't know I get to do this, or you know what I mean? Like, was there a surprise? Is what I'm wondering.
Mm, You know what? No, there really wasn't any surprises. I feel like when I got here, they gave me framework and they gave me a clear, concise of my roles and responsibilities, and I love it. I love everything about what I do, and I come to work happy, and that's real important for me. I,
What a blessing. That's such
yeah,
a blessing.
yeah.
That is very cool. And I take it your family's still back in SC?
Oh yeah, they're back. Yeah.
And so is that do you find that being one of your biggest challenges, being away from home?
At times, yes, because I love experiencing things with my family. Like when we won the NFC West, like I really wanted to experience that with my family, maybe come home and be like, hey, but when you do things for a professional team and it's such a blessing to work for an organization like this, it's okay. I can get them out
All
here
right.
for a game if I need to.
Oh, there you go. That's great. All right. Well, how about we talk about a little bit of the rehab side of things? You mentioned the medical team just a moment ago, which
hmm
makes me think, okay. So as performance science, your information covers the spectrum from rehab to return to performance and game day and so on. When it comes to the rehab side of things, how do they benefit from the information you gather?
Right. So whenever we integrate performance science with return to play or medical side, thinking from an objective standpoint, field metrics. Field metrics is the driver for everything. And when guys are coming back to play, you kind of build a framework to where guys have targets, from a total yard standpoint to A cells, D cells, and we kind of try and make sure we're building a athlete that is prepared to come back, but at a robust stance. So being able to get the metrics back either live and via reports that I'll make for the staff, and that's just a good way for everyone to get hands on where the athlete's at from the beginning and end stage, and in between stage too. That way we can kind of periodize, or the practitioner can get this report and basically um, build out the next progression for the week build for the athlete. So all it is just not driven but guided report card, I'd say, we would
Got
build
it.
for them.
And when it comes to your insight and information, is there a common network, like a common database that other people within the organization can add to? So whether it's a person's conditioning program, an athlete's conditioning program, you've got the athletic trainer, physical therapist, maybe ortho or sports med doc, and you've got the strength conditioning coach, you've got the skills coach, you got the sports science. Are they able to communicate in one document, one place that you can share and collaborate, or is it done more or less at a meeting level and the database isn't kind of like that? How does it work for you?
Well, all that's going to be shared with the performance and medical staff, and then that's shared more organically. Like we have great um communication and just good feel for camaraderie, and a lot of times things are handled organically. Feel like that. So that's kind of how we bond and how we become such a close staff, just organically, conversations and stuff like that.
And who do you get along with the most? We won't name names. Just like what department? And I don't mean to like throw your neck too far over the chopping block. I don't mean it like that. But like
Yeah.
when it comes to like, hey, I got my groove on with this guy or this department, and I'm just jazzed. It doesn't mean I don't love everybody else, but this is kind of the mojo that really gets me vibrating.
And it's
My
funny you
mental,
say
my
that.
mental soul food is what I'm saying.
It's funny you say that. Like I get around pretty well with everyone. Like it
Oh, don't be
truly.
the politician,
I'm
Justin. Come
not.
on, dude.
I'm not. Seriously, we have something special here, and we really do get along very well organically. A lot of times, it's such a welcoming environment. I can go in any department and sit down and have a conversation with them, just because we've been able to build that culture. The people above me have done a great job of building that strong culture where I can sit down in my nutritionist, um, I can sit down in director of nutrition office and have a 30-minute conversation with him. And it's truly a blessed place to be in when you can walk in anywhere and have a conversation and talk about anything. And that's why I say like I get along with every department because we really do have
Wow.
very, very good communication and very good collaboration.
Dude, that's spectacular. I mean,
Reggie,
this
Reggie
just
Scott and Justin Lovett have done an amazing job of just building this culture. And it's a blessing to be a part of, seriously.
wow,
Not a
that is
politician answer. That's come from the heart.
no, that is from the heart. That
Yeah,
takes your breath away. That makes you just smile and cry and just be
yeah,
like, wow, imagine if other people felt the same way you do about going to work and being surrounded by such caring and compassionate
yeah.
and
Hard working. Yeah,
art. Yeah, that's
yeah.
so cool. All right. Well, man, that's just making me kind of envious right there. I like that. All right. So, when it comes to information and data, is there an area that piques your curiosity that maybe it isn't pertinent to what you're doing now, but it makes you kind of go, that's interesting. I'm seeing a trend here. I wonder what this might be like. Is there a correlation to this? Is there anything right now that piques your interest that may not be part of of your day to day?
Is there anything right? Can you repeat that? Is there anything
Yeah, is there anything based on all the information you're gathering, you
right?
obviously see patterns. You're seeing trends. And but then there's things that are kind of maybe outliers, or maybe they're trends that you weren't expecting. Like there's surprises. Is there anything that piques your curiosity right now in that regard that makes you go, I wonder what that's all about?
Um, I'd say maybe that's a great question. That is a great question. It piques my curiosity. I'd say, hmm,
All right, we're
maybe
gonna yeah, go ahead.
that's a great question. Can we come back to that?
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course, no problem. But now I'm gonna make you think about it. That's good. If
Yeah,
nothing
yeah, I'm
else, I've
thinking
just
hard about it.
planted a seed. But because like you'll find in my mind, I'm thinking of like joint mechanics
Uh,
and when we get somebody that has a restriction in one area, it creates a reduction of force here or
right,
encourages force over here. And you're like, wow, look at these compensatory patterns emerging. And now it's trending so that everyone that has a high hamstring pull on their right side, it has
right,
a tendency to exhibit a higher correlation of this. It's those
right,
type of things that I'm like, that for me, from a biomechanics standpoint, gets me intrigued. Where the nutritionist might say, it's interesting that this person complains of sinus infections and migraines, and they've got some gut issues. Or their sleep patterns off, or something, and there are these connected, seemingly disconnected things that actually have a relationship together. I guess that's it. It's like, are you finding relationships that are not necessarily what you're expecting? So
right.
something again to plant a seed.
I have one. Yeah.
Okay.
I say like even just looking at data, when I first came here, like I said, these athletes are the elite of the elite, so they're very strong, and when you get to position specific and you're looking at data, say i.e. maybe it's a hamstring or it's a iso push from Alex Natera, we're getting, baselines or guys returning to play, you're realizing like some asymmetries may naturally be there, and that might be their normal, you know,
Yeah.
like which is interesting because you're like, literature says you kind of want to be close within each other, but maybe for certain positions, whether the foot they're leading off of, maybe that's their natural asymmetry, where there's 30 to, 5. And it's interesting to see that. And sometimes you get lost in the data because you're like, that's that's not normal, but maybe that is normal for them, right? So
Right. No, no,
that's
no. Their asymmetries are what gives them the competitive advantage. Like they
right.
found a
That's what I'm getting
way
to.
around
Yes.
their issues, and now they are at the elite level, even
Right.
with these asymmetries. You're like,
Right.
holy cow. Do we
Right.
want to mess with that? Or do we just
Right.
appreciate it for what it is? Like,
Right.
I don't want to, the last thing you want to do is have a reduction of performance just because they're not meeting the proper
Right.
parameters, right?
Right.
So yeah, that's
That
funky.
that that's something that kind of like midway through the season, like it was like my head just kept spinning because I just couldn't believe like um that could very well be someone's normal, because like you said, you
Yeah.
don't want to hinder their performance trying to chase guidelines and parameters, but nothing's wrong with them, and it's fine, and they're healthy and they're happy and they're smiling, and
So
it's
crazy.
interesting. It's so interesting, and you can really, I hope something comes out later in literature that kind of explains that, and we can infer that it could be position specific because football has different demands at every position. Every team has different demands for that position. So it's interesting, right?
Yeah. Do you find one position more interesting than the other when it comes to the team? Whether it's
Um,
special teams or place
mhm.
kicker or long snapper, O line, whatever.
Special teams always interesting. But
Why?
they're more they're more technical with more tactical than anything just from their skill sets. They're specialists. They're kicking or they're long snapping. So it's almost like basketball where it's like so technical just with your free throw shooting. Like that's you know, kind of their superpower. But I'd say the most interesting one is probably to me like a true like O line D line, like maybe an edge or a D line. I think those are the ones that kind of I'm always in awe about because they're able to accelerate so quick and so efficient, and their steps are so efficient. Like they have to, it's just interesting seeing that. Like that was something I saw this year, seen at a high level. Um, they accelerate fast. They that's their superpower, right? But they're able to accelerate and continue to um move fast with that contact as well. And that's and the repeatability to be able to do that, play and play after. I think that's phenomenal. I think that's phenomenal.
Yes. All right.
Key
I
tackles, yeah.
can't. We're coming up against the clock. I probably got maybe two more questions before I got to let you go because you've given me so much time already. Here it is. Todd Wright, Vice President of the LA Clippers, or Ed Street, Performance Director for the LA Lakers. They call you up and they say, Mr. Chapman, we've got a position for you. And you've been used to basketball. Now, Uh, maybe maybe that's not a good question. I don't want to put you on the spot there, but so sorry, but I'm just wondering, like you're loving football right now, but you're curious too, and I can see that you just love finding out riddles and information and diving into it. Would you ever, not right now, not today, or not even for 2 years down the road or whatever, but could you consider switching from the NFL to maybe the NBA or maybe the LA Kings, the NHL, or are you happy just staying in your lane right now with the NFL?
Yeah, I'd say right now I'm very happy with staying where I'm at, just where I'm at from a, professional development. I feel like I'm in the best spot for me to grow, enjoy what I do, but also do it at a very high level. And right now I really do love my organization. Like it's developed into a deep love, and I never thought I'd be here coming from basketball to the NFL and loving football. But I always want to stay curious. I always want to stay learning because that's the moment you're not staying dangerous or staying curious is the moment you're kind of out the game. So I feel like staying curious and staying dangerous has always been something I'm interested in. And yeah, but right now I love what I do. Like I'm happy.
Well answered, well said. Yeah, okay. And then would Robin ever consider becoming Batman?
One day that's always the goal. I feel like we always have aspirations to, lead a department. One day, but right now I'm gonna be the best Robin I could be.
Teen Titans go. That's awesome.
There we
All
go.
right. So, Justin, if people want to follow you, follow your pursuits, learn more about you, do you have an Instagram handle or LinkedIn, or what's the best way to kind of check out your work and what you're doing, or just reach out and maybe even ask you a question if they're an aspiring performance scientist themselves?
Yeah, I'm available on Instagram at Just Chatty, and also my LinkedIn is my name. So Justen Chatman. You can type that in, and if you want to DM me, I'm more than willing to answer questions about my journey and go into depth about what I do for a living, and anything you want to know, I'll answer.
Dude, I honestly so appreciate every answer you've given me. And I knew I threw a whole bunch of things at you. Yeah, I've just been, you make me curious and I love it. I love being curious and I love learning. And from guys like you make it easy. So I can't thank you enough. This has been a real treat. And I wish you nothing but success. And honestly, being a fellow East Coaster with my heart on another team, I will root for the NFC West when it comes to the Rams. You can tell my Niner friends in the backyard here to go stuff it.
Smart man. There you go. No, it's been a pleasure. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure.
And dang, just like that, it's over. Justin and the Rams, thank you guys. That was fantastic. Hey, be sure to check out my website, rockysnyder.com. Check out the brand new wedge kit. There's a poster inside. It tells you all about how to use it. Also, check out Perform Better's 3-day functional summit, the NSCA National Conference this summer in July in Kansas City, Missouri. While you're at it, Satanta College for your continuing education, and my book, Return to Center. I guess that's it. We'll see you next week.